Hey guys, welcome back to Flirting with Meaning. Hope you guys are all doing well. Someone left a comment on one of my recent videos and they were like, she can't even afford a room for her podcast. She has to record it in her car. How pathetic. And it's like, I couldn't agree more. Make this podcast blow up so we could get out of here. Let's get this thing up and out of here. You know what I'm saying? They're like, how pathetic. I agree. So how can we fix it? Make this thing blow up. But no, they ate with that one because I am poor and I do film in my car. And yeah, so welcome back to Flirting with Meaning, the place where we ask way too many questions about life and what is happening, because what is happening? Because I blinked once and 2016 is already 10 years ago. And I know I just talked about this, but yesterday I realized I had to renew my passport because I got it in 2016 when I ran away from home. And now it's been 10 years and I need to renew it so I can run away from home again. But anyway, my main point, I'm getting there, don't worry, is that the fee to renew the passport is $130. And yeah, mildly annoying, right? But I go, okay. Next thing that happens is I have a meeting with my academic advisor because, I don't need to say it here. You already know I shout from the rooftops about how next semester is my last semester because of this godforsaken American Sign Language class that I'm having so much trouble passing. I have a meeting with my academic advisor, trying to figure out what the next steps are. So they're saying, oh yeah, you should be all set. You just have to apply for graduation and then you should be good. So I go, okay. I go to apply for graduation and there's a fee. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. The fee is $100 and something, $100 and change. And I go, oh, okay. So another necessary thing I have to do and the fee is over $100. And I'm like, why does everything have a fee these days? And why is it always over $100? What is the point? What are they spending that money on? If there was a bit more transparency maybe, and they told me what that money was going towards, I'd be like, okay. But to be honest, and this reminds me of when I was first applying for universities, you had to pay application fees to apply for some universities. And it's like, there's not even a guarantee that I'm going to get in, but I have to pay money to be rejected. The concept of paying money to get rejected is actually insane. And that's kind of the reason for this rant right now. I just think it's so twisted. I think a lot of this is really twisted. And at the same time, it's like, what if you can't afford that? What if you can't? People already can't afford college, and now you're asking them to pay more to apply to possibly be rejected. And what if I couldn't afford the graduation fee? Am I stuck in this purgatory of being finished with my degree but not being allowed to graduate because I'm poor? Like, how does that work? How does that work? And it has me looking around like, is all this, how is all this normalized? This is actually just insane, right? Like, it's not just me. Like, I know companies and people need a way to make money, but at some point it's giving exploitation and it's giving greedy. Like, I could understand somebody's need for survival. They need money to survive. But if you're like already a corporation that makes billions of dollars, I have a bone to pick with you. The government, we already pay so much money in taxes. Why do I have to pay a fee for a passport that already exists? So lately I've just been looking around and I'm thinking, what is the point of all this? Truly, what is the point? Why does everything have a fee that's over $100? What is the point? Because lately it feels like everything has gotten so inconvenient and so unnecessarily complicated that it almost feels like this is a prank. Because when you think of how the future is supposed to look, you think more convenience. As time passes, things progress and things become more convenient. Yet it feels like it's the opposite is happening. The simulation is glitching. The matrix is lagging. Like, can someone just restart this? Can we just start from scratch? Someone needs to create a better system here. And it's not just about, fees or subscriptions. It's about everything being more expensive these days. The cost of groceries is insane. But not even groceries. Fast food is almost more expensive than if you just cooked the food at home. But even cooking the food at home is expensive. Being able to buy the healthy stuff is even more expensive. So it's like you're already breaking the bank to buy things that are bad for you. And it gets to the point where it's like, they want me to suffer. They want me to die. They want me to be sick. They want me to be stressed about money. By they, I mean the government. But are we getting into this deep conspiracy right now? I don't know. But what I'm saying is all this inconvenience, it piles up. It's gotten to the point where you have to have an account for everything. You have so many passwords for so many things that now your iPhone can remember all the passwords for you, to the point where you don't even remember the passwords anymore. But then when you actually do need to remember, you can't remember if you get locked out of your iPhone. And then the CAPTCHA, having to verify that you're not a robot with the CAPTCHA. And even that is so difficult these days. You've probably seen where it's photos and they say, click the photos that have a bike in it or a bridge in it, and there will be like a photo with like art of a wheel, and it's like, is that part of the bike? And it doesn't work. And then there are so many times where I have to keep doing the CAPTCHA because it thinks I'm a robot, but I just don't understand what it's asking me to click, because in my head that's part of the bike, but to them it's not part of the bike. And apparently because I didn't know that, I'm a robot and I'm getting locked out of my accounts. Maybe the problem's me, I don't know. I can't be the one who's had any issue with the CAPTCHA choosing the photos. It just feels like living in modern society has become this puzzle, or dare I say scavenger hunt, or even worse, an unpaid internship. And every time you finally complete a task, another one pops up and another one pops up, and it gets to the point where you stop and think, why? What is the point? Why? This feels like a lot. This feels unnecessary. And to be honest, it's not always just the inconvenience, it's the existential stuff underneath it. Every time something annoys me or stresses me out, this question comes up and it feels deeper, and it's like, truly, what is the point of all this? Who invented this system? Who decided that life needs to feel like this never-ending checklist mixed with this video game of a matrix mixed with tax forms and fees? Who invented this? Tell me their name. I would like to speak with them. Oh, they're probably dead by now, but it shouldn't be this stressful to exist. That's what I'm getting at. And I feel like other people think the same things sometimes, but nobody wants to say it because it might feel dramatic or too philosophical for a casual conversation. But that's why we're here today, and maybe it seems like I'm just complaining, but complaining actually lowers cortisol, which is good for you. So gather around and let's complain and lower our cortisol. You're welcome to complain here. That's kind of all we're gonna do today. Asking what's the point, it's nothing new. I'm not the first one to ask what's the point of this, what's the point of everything. It's probably the oldest question ever. People have been asking what's the point since the beginning of time, except back then the stress was more of, how do I survive in the winter? Whereas now it's like, why is my Uber trip $20 more expensive today than it was yesterday, even though I'm going from the same place to the same place as I did yesterday? Existentialism as a whole basically says that life doesn't come with a built-in meaning. We're the ones who are supposed to create it. We don't get a starter kit. There's no manual and there's no cheat code. You have to find the meaning yourself. But instead we just get thrown out into the world by ourselves. We might pick a path we never truly understand, and then we try to spend all of our lives figuring out, what is this for? What is this all for? And lately, with everything being so frustrating and expensive and confusing, that question is harder to answer. But at the same time, it feels almost unavoidable. And I'm not saying we're in a simulation, but that's also not what I'm saying. Life feels a little too suspicious to think otherwise. Like, why are companies making things so difficult that you need a manual to cancel a subscription? Why are they so against me canceling my subscription? It's my money. That just makes, if you make it hard to cancel a subscription, I just hate you even more, because you're trying to force me to not be in control of my own money. If I were to ever consider going back to a subscription, I would actually never even consider it if you make canceling the subscription hard. It feels like society has become like this maze, and even a maze inside of a maze. And this maze just so happens to update every week. So it's changing. Once you think you figure it out, it changes. We're all rats trying to figure out where the cheese moved again. Why is the cheese behind a paywall? Why does each piece of cheese have a fee of over $100, even though I need the cheese to survive? Maybe life has shifted into this weird hyper-designed world where everything is just optimized for convenience on paper, but in reality it just makes everything feel more disconnected and makes everybody just feel drained and lost and burnt out. And sometimes it feels like we're inside a system that keeps asking us to be more without giving us anything extra to even work with. So what is the point? Obviously, I don't have that answer because I'm the one asking the question. But here's what I do know. The point of life, the purpose, the meaning of life is not the system of life. It's finding even the littlest ounce of peace or fulfillment or meaning in this God-forsaken place that we call Earth, or even under our circumstance of the economy. Okay, this thing keeps cutting me off because it keeps saying my storage is full. So I keep deleting more than enough things to be able to film at least part of this, and then it keeps cutting me off again saying storage is full. So Apple, I actually have a bone to pick with you as well, because I subscribe to like the highest tier of storage. Like I pay monthly for storage and I don't even have that much things that I store, and you're still cutting me off. You're still cutting my videos off. So I have a bone to pick with you while we're talking about this topic. And then my GarageBand started being glitchy. What is happening? I think I remember where we left off. Even if the world feels chaotic and inconvenient, I think there's still some space to create meaning and to be able to choose what matters when we can, or disconnect when we can, when we need to. And the way that you find the meaning, it's not something that just arrives on your doorstep. You have to build it and find it through intention and curiosity, and through understanding yourself, and through noticing the small things that make life worth experiencing, despite all the shitty things that they're putting us through every single day in this godforsaken economy. I honestly feel like meaning is found in resistance as well, in refusing to let the world drain you, and choosing things that help you feel fulfilled even when things are frustrating, and choosing to care even when it feels easier not to, and choosing to keep asking those questions and looking around and acknowledging the fact that none of this should be normalized. What is society? What is my bank account? Like, can we start there actually? I feel like we're all just out here trying to make sense of a world that feels confusing and expensive and overwhelming. And how does this even change? I don't even know how any of this is supposed to change. But hey, we're lowering our cortisol and we're complaining about it. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about today. I'm about to hit up the Trader Joe's and do some damage. They have some really good cherry tomatoes right now. But let me know what else you guys want to hear about. Let me know if this resonated with you at all. I would love to hear your thoughts, and thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you guys again next week. I hope you have a good rest of the week, and I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Like, truly, truly, truly appreciate all of your views and support. So I'll see you guys again next week. Bye, guys.